Hey guys, it's Rio. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm starting my NSLI series about my study abroad experience. I reached out to a couple other alumni from NSLI so that this whole series can be advice to everyone who is applying to NSLI or maybe is going already this summer. So I hope that you guys can learn something or this series helps you out in any way. So for this first video, I'll be starting with my experience and other alumni's experience. I just want to preface and say that my experience isn't going to be like your experience. It may be similar, it may be completely different. Everyone is going to have their own unique kind of way of their study abroad experience being, and that's totally fine. But I'm just here to kind of guide you and give you advice for anything that you may possibly encounter. So I'll be looking at things on my phone. That's why I'm looking down, by the way, if you guys ever wonder. So first I'm going to start with my NSLI experience. I went to Bursa, Turkey, and I was in the 2023 summer cohort. It was the summer after my freshman year whenever I went, so I was the youngest in my cohort naturally. I think that it was kind of interesting to see everyone who knew what they were going to do, kind of knew what they were going to go to college or knew what they wanted to major in, and I was able to learn a lot from all the other people in my cohort. One thing cool about our cohort is that there was a group chat that was made before we went on NSLI. So someone in our cohort was able to make a group chat and we were kind of all in it, so we were all able to talk to each other before we had orientation in DC. So whenever we had orientation in DC, it was a little awkward because it was like we already knew each other but we never saw each other, but I think it was really helpful that we did have that group chat before. I also brought a water polo ball with me to Turkey, and there was a pool at the kind of hotel that we had orientation at, and I think it was really fun because we kind of got to get together and play a little water polo in the pool, which was a great bonding activity. So we flew into Istanbul, and it was really great for a couple days. We explored the city, and it was super fun. We got to look at all of the mosques, like the Hagia Sophia, and I got to learn about a lot about Ottoman history, which was super interesting. Then we drove to Bursa on a bus, and I finally got to meet my host family. I met my host grandma, and she kind of showed me around her apartment. I was lucky enough to have my own room, which was kind of my own space, which was super great. And she was the only one in my host family, so I didn't really have any host siblings, unlike a lot of other people. But I am an only child, so I'm kind of used to that environment. One thing I do want to say about the matching process is they do an incredibly good job with your matching process. It's something that happens during the interview. They take a lot of notes about what you're like, what your personality's like, and they match you to a family who will share some common interests to you. So I wouldn't really worry that much about your host family. I know that's naturally one of the hardest things that people worry about is their host family, but you're in good hands, don't worry. So then the average NSLI-Y day for our Bursa cohort would be, we would have Monday through Friday, we would have school. And we would have school probably from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we would have class for 45 minutes, and then we'd have a 15-minute break. In the afternoons, we would have activities. We would go to see local history sites, do arts and crafts, learn about culture. I remember one time we had a dance lesson, like a Turkish dance lesson, which was super cool. My favorite activity that we had was a panoramic museum. So one of the world's largest panoramas was in Bursa, and it was this huge Ottoman drawing, and it was really historical, and it was super cool that we got to see all of the history, and we got to be inside this kind of dome thing, which that was one of my favorite activities. And then one of the days in the week, you have a language session with language learning, which, sorry if the wind chimes are really loud. So this like language learning session was at the park for us, and your host sibling would come and they would be like your language buddy. And you just got to learn a bunch of cool new things about the language you're learning that you may not learn in class. And then every week you would switch, so you would be with other people's host siblings, and you got to know like a lot more. You got to make more cultural friends, like people from the actual country that you're visiting, which was super cool. Once a week you would also have a day off, so on our days off we kind of liked to explore. We went shopping, we went to the bazaar, which was super fun. And yeah, so after my school day I would come home, and I'm a swimmer, so I was actually able to request living near a pool. So every day I would come home and I would swim for 2 hours until my host grandma came home from work, and then we would spend the rest of the afternoon together. One of my other favorite excursions we went on was whenever we went to Iznik, which is a local kind of lake town near Bursa. We drove there and we went tile painting. We learned a lot about ancient Ottoman history again, and we swam in the lake in the afternoon, which was super fun. On Saturdays, me and my friends would hang out in the morning, my cohort friends, and we would go explore a lot. And then in the afternoon, I would spend it with my host grandma and the neighbors, and we would sit and have tea and talk. And every Sunday in the morning, we would go have breakfast with my host grandma's like close relatives, her nieces, her nephews, her brother, everything like that. And then on Sunday afternoons, we would just relax, and that was kind of our schedule for the week, every week that we were there. Yeah, so that's pretty much my NSLI experience, kind of really wrapped up, summarized in around 7 minutes. But I did ask about some other people's experiences and how NSLI impacted their language learning and how it changed their views on language learning. So I'm going to read some of these responses that I have here. One person said that NSLI taught me how to actually learn a language in a structured way and how to be productive with studying, making flashcards, etc. It definitely made me see improving my Chinese as something a lot more attainable than I previously thought. Another person said, it really solidified my belief that immersion is the best way to learn a language, and it taught me how to integrate my culture into the language that I'm learning, which is super cool. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of the immersion aspect of learning now, because I think I didn't really cover that really well. So our teachers for Turkish did not speak English, and they wouldn't speak English to us. They probably did speak English now that I think about it, but it's just an immersion aspect. So you go in and there's no English once you enter that classroom. And I think it's really cool to kind of learn that way. Personally, I've never learned how to learn a new language that way. But one thing that you need to be ready for in an immersion classroom is you're gonna fail and you're not gonna understand things. And once you start, it feels hard. It's really hard. You feel like you don't understand things and you feel not the smartest, but that's okay. And I think like that's why immersion helps so much, because you learn so much in such a little time. It's not like memorization. You're learning from the failures that you had, which only makes you more successful in the end. So I think immersion language learning is really great in that aspect. I'm going to read another one of these language learning responses. So it says, it taught me that learning a new language from scratch was not only doable, but it can be fun and fast-paced if you have the courage to just try and the discipline to keep learning, which is really great. Last one for how did NSLI change your view on language learning? Language learning is a way to connect with other human beings, linguistically and emotionally. It also gave me insight on how languages function, which helped me with my Spanish language learning journey as well, which is super great. Now I'm going to move on to, did NSLI change your life in a significant way? If so, how? So I'm going to start with my answer to this question. NSLI changed my life in not only being more appreciative of other cultures and learning new languages, but it really changed my life in a social aspect. I was 15 whenever I went, and I was by myself in a new country, and it was extremely different than my life in a small town in Texas. I learned the value of friendship, and I've always had super great friends throughout my life, but it really changed whenever I went to Turkey with such amazing people. Everyone was incredibly goal-oriented. They knew what they wanted to do in life. They knew that what they wanted to do. I was able to talk to people and get advice, and I really understood that I wanted to surround myself with people who are high achieving and who have actual goals, and who want to strive to make themselves better and bring up the people around them. So I really learned the type of people I wanted to surround myself with in my life, and I think once I came back and I brought those values with me, and that really helped build a strong social circle back at home. For other people, it opened my eyes to different career possibilities. I definitely plan on studying abroad in college, and I'm pursuing a specialization in cybersecurity at Georgia Tech. Someone else said, NSLI changed my life in an incredibly significant way. It made me choose new majors in school and begin interacting not only with South Asian community back home, but also expanded into other communities and cultures as well. It heavily motivated me to study languages other than Hindi that I never would have known about or have studied if it were not for the program. It got me into poetry, art, dancing, cooking, etc. Just because I wanted to make my language and cultural skills as useful as possible. It helped me decide that I wanted to prepare for humanitarian work and the foreign service, and has provided me with many volunteer outreach employment opportunities as well as qualifications for more scholarships like NSLI. NSLI has even indirectly helped me on my spiritual/religious journey in my life. It has changed my life basically in every way. Another response that we got was, absolutely. I have never been outside of the US before, and I came from a very small town with no Chinese-speaking residents. I always knew I wanted to be bilingual and have a career in diplomacy, but doing NSLI has helped me to actually see that it was possible instead of being just a dream. So I think that's super great. So that's it for this video on kind of the general NSLI-Y experience. I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching, and I wanted to thank everyone who gave feedback to help for this video. I will have more videos upcoming, like the most asked questions for people from NSLI, and also what to pack. So definitely stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment down below for more videos like this one. Thank you.